a magical mystery tour. I'm Rebecca Lieb.
I'm Jason Horton.
And this is Ghost Town.
On July 13th, 1980, in Kirkby in Ashfield, a mining town in Nottinghamshire, England, hundreds of students competed in various school bands during the annual Hollinwell show. Just after 10:30 a.m., the contestants started to collapse. Why? No one knows. This is the Hollinwell incident. Children just started fainting and collapsing with no cause. They complained of headaches, nausea, pain, soreness, dizziness, just unexplained. Mm-hmm. They're at this kind of, not a battle of the bands, but like a school bands. Mm-hmm. And they all play in their bands on this one day and everyone watches and celebrates. It's not really a competition, but it's like a celebration. Like the school, their band's going to play some songs. The other band's going to play some songs. And then 259 kids just got sick, passed out, nausea, complaining of sickness, soreness, and nobody knows why.
Wow.
259 kids were sent to 4 nearby hospitals. It's a lot of people to tend to. Yeah. And I'm sure I don't know how big the town is. There's 4 hospitals nearby. That's great. But also, what's wrong? We just got sick. From what? Yeah. We don't know. We talked a little bit about like the Toxic Lady episode.
Totally.
And
or like
we've talked about mass hysteria.
Absolutely. The dancing plague. We talked about that a while back.
That's a biggie.
Totally. Like it's so confounding because you have no fucking idea what is happening.
Most were released after examination, but 9 were kept overnight. So for most of them, it subsided. Mm-hmm. There are some reports that state that 15 adults also suffered from various symptoms, and some horses.
Oh, don't bring the horses into this.
Well, we're going to after this break. One of the students said, "We were on the field in full uniform for inspection. I've never had to stand to attention that long before. My friends were collapsing all around me." Before things kicked off, there was just a lot of lead time to that. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of prep and organization and wearing uncomfortable uniforms.
Totally.
And maybe a little bit of stress and pressure and a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of energy.
That's key.
So the obviously the big one is mass hysteria.
Yeah. This excitement that like kind of snowballs. And I think a lot of the times we don't give that first one the credit that it deserves because the mind is a powerful thing. And if everyone is excited and keyed up, it's like Pentecostal church. You don't know how much you can be affected by other people and how much hysteria can affect your body too, physiologically. It feels very scary. So
well, it's like a thing where you're like, oh, I think I felt we could both eat something and be like, oh no, I hope I don't have food poisoning.
Yeah.
And then immediately I can tell myself I have food poisoning very easily by you saying it's like, well, we eat the same thing.
Exactly.
And you just times that by a couple of hundred. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure the energy and the feeling. And I think when people feel sick, whether they know what it is or not, people can kind of sense that in a real visceral way.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there are other theories, and some really hold weight because some people say, well, most of the adults were not affected. But most of the adults were in a separate situation. Situationally, they're in a different place.
Totally.
They're not with their peers about to perform music in front of people. And maybe there's a thing where it's like, hey, we want to do really good, like a sporting event.
Yeah.
A school sporting event, like maybe of school pride. I don't know. I don't think it was necessarily like a competitive thing. There's people that are competitive. There's people that want to do a good job.
Well, the state of excitement around music, and that's why, but even still, some adults did get it.
Exactly.
That's the kind of, it's like, okay, well, this is not their event, but everyone in a church who are singing and like oxygenating themselves and getting hyped up. Yeah. Okay. So maybe someone sitting out outside in the parking lot's not going to be affected by that because it's not your event. Like this is their band event. It was their showcase. It wasn't really about the adults.
Other theories involve food poisoning, radio waves, radiation, aliens.
Yeah, baby.
General paranormal. And mass demonic possession.
Oh,
remember 1980 in the world, 1980 England, and England was pretty rife with like paranormal and possessions. We've talked about that. And even since Rosemary's Baby, I guess, I mean, I think some before that, up until The Exorcist and Amityville Horror.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of things that they're of that mind.
Yeah.
20 years later, so like around 2000, it was discovered that the pesticide Tridemorph, which at the time was considered harmless, was sprayed on the field previous to the event.
Oof.
So again, a lot of times you don't know, and they say it's okay, so we're just going to spray it, and we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's a pesticide. When is pesticide? I mean, I guess if you have an infestation or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think if they say it's safe, we'll just spray it. Would you get into a pool 5 seconds after you put a cleaning product in it? Maybe not.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe they'll have a little buffer of time.
Yeah.
Even if they're like, oh, it's fine. I don't know. So that is definitely, it could be a combination of the pesticide plus the hysteria. Totally.
Or you don't know how these things are linked. I think when I think about hysteria too, we can't even explain hysteria, like what it is, what it does to us. We just observe it. And I'm sure in statements made by the students who've been affected by this, they're like, I don't know what happened to me. Like, I don't know. I felt these things. They felt true to me. And I went to the hospital to get it checked out, or felt afraid and tried to calm myself, whatever you do when you're affected by hysteria or any one of these things. I think it is doing it a discredit to be it's just one thing versus many things. I also have heard about mirror neurons and that being a part of explaining hysteria and episodes like this, where it's we are so affected by other people's neural pathways. Mirror neurons are the way that we observe something in someone else, and then our brain kind of reacts and repeats in a way that mimics that person. It's brain mimicry, which I learned from working on a science show for a couple of years, but that people were seeing other people getting sick, and then it kind of happened within them. And that all falls into the hysteria blanket.
I knew all that. I just want to see if you knew it.
Oh,